A grinning man across the fire chews a fistful of wild nuts, swallows, and holds the rest out to you to share. Soon, you will watch the reddest berries on the whole hillside turn a laughing mouth purple. You will kneel at the clearest, coldest stream you have ever seen and drink deep beside everyone you love. You will stand over meat that no one is guarding, push a hand into tall grass, duck into a dark cave, and each time, something you cannot see decides whether you walk away. One by one, the seats around this fire go empty, and no one ever says the word that emptied them, because the word does not exist yet. Nothing here comes labeled, not safe or poison, not clean or owned. So the only way your band learns what kills is to watch a friend find out first. Every answer you will ever trust is being paid for tonight by someone close enough to touch. It starts with him, the open hand, the spilled nuts, the body going quiet on the ground before the fire is even lit. You were born knowing nothing, and the world does not slow to teach you. It only sends the bill. The man who showed you the nuts is dead before the fire is lit. He chewed, he grinned, he swallowed the bitter ones, and his own gut turned the meal into poison from the inside. The nut looks like food, smells like food, and your body does the killing for it. His breath went short, his legs stopped answering, and by dark he was a shape on the ground with nuts still in his open hand. No one says the word poison because the word does not exist yet. What outlives him is this: the next person to bite a bitter one spits it out, flinching, and never knows why. That flinch is not instinct you were born with. It is him, a dead man's mouth remembering for you. The girl finds the berries before you do, the reddest thing on the whole hillside, fat and glossy in the green. Red means ripe. Red means best. She eats a fistful, laughing, lips already staining dark, and you reach for a handful of your own. By the time her laughing stops, her lips have gone from red to bruised purple, and she is bent double over her stomach. The color was never an invitation. It was a warning, written for animals that already survived the first taste, and you are not one of them. The brightest thing on the hill read to you as the sweetest, when it was screaming, "Stay back," in a language your kind was never taught. Far ahead of you, "Do not eat the bright ones," becomes a thing people simply know. It is her. She is the reason. The stream is the most honest thing you have seen all summer, cold and fast and clear down to the stones. You cup your hands. The whole band cups their hands. Clear water is clean water. Anyone can see there is nothing in it. And there is nothing in it you can see. That is the whole problem. A week passes, and the stream is only a good memory. Then the cramps start, one person, then four, then most of the cave folded over in the dark, wasting, emptying out. Nobody links it to the water. How could they? It was a week ago, and it tasted like nothing but cold. The trap was never the taste. It was the delay, stretched long enough that the clean-looking gift and the dying never share a thought. Every rule about boiling at first was banked from bodies that drank and could not say why they were dying. High in the split of an old tree, something is dripping gold, and you both see it at once. Honey, the purest sweetness the world offers, just hanging there for the taking. He climbs for it while you watch from below. His hand closes on the comb, and the tree comes alive. The gold was never unguarded. It was armored in 10,000 bodies, and all of them lift at once. A black cloud pours out of the trunk and wraps him. He lets go, falls still swinging at the air, and the swarm comes down with him. Sweetness, it turns out, is the most defended thing in the forest, and its price is written on his skin in 100 small red marks, a rule he learned and does not get to use. 2 mushrooms sit in his palm, and you cannot tell them apart either. One fed the band last week. This one wears its twin's face, the same pale cap, the same clean stem, the same mild smell. So he trusts the one he knows and eats. For 6 hours, nothing. He feels fine. That is the cruelest hour of it, the false all clear, while the thing is already in his liver, taking it apart in silence. By the time his body understands, there is nowhere to go and nothing to do. The look-alike never announces itself. Half a cap is enough, and he ate a whole one. No one here will learn the line between the mushroom that feeds you and the one that hollows you out. They will only learn to fear its whole shape because of him. By late summer, the hunger is louder than the warning. There is a carcass in the sun, blackened, humming with flies, its stink turning your stomach from 20 paces. Everything in him says no. His empty belly says it louder. He tells himself, rot is only meat that waited, and he bites in. Hunger is the oldest liar there is, and it wins because the alternative is nothing at all. By nightfall, he is gray and sweating, curled around a gut that has turned on him, paying in agony for a meal that was never food. He was not careless, he was starving. That a nose spoiled from safe, someone had to rot from the inside to prove it. Then summer changes its whole nature. You find a kill in the grass, fresh, opened, no one standing over it. Free meat, more than the band has seen in weeks, and you drag it off together, grinning, already dividing it up. Here is what none of you know. A kill with no guard is not abandoned, it is owned. The thing that made it is a short walk away, and it can smell you on its food from a valley over. The grass moves. Two eyes catch the last light, low and yellow and coming. You did not find free meat. You walked into the middle of a cave lion's kitchen and started eating its supper. In one heartbeat, the band stops being the hunters and becomes the hunted. That you never linger on another animal's kill was bought here, in full, by the ones too slow to run. It is such a small thing, a stone edge, a red line across the back of his hand, barely deep enough to bleed. He wipes it on his thigh and keeps working. A scratch is nothing, everyone agrees. A scratch is nothing. But the world is full of things too small to see, and some of them have already climbed into the cut. Next day the hand is hot. The day after, it is swollen and shining, and the red line has become a red map crawling up his arm. You watch the fever take his eyes first, glassy and far away, then his legs. Surviving the stone did not mean he survived the stone. That a cut must be cleaned, that a fever is an emergency and not a mood, was earned by a man who laughed off a scratch and shook apart 3 days later. There are roots in the tall grass, and roots are food you can count on. He wades in to his knees, feeling blind through the green while you follow. The grass is generous. The grass is also full. Something coils near his hand, and he never sees the shape of it, only the strike, fast as a flinched eye, and then 2 red dots on his wrist, neat as a decision. At first it is almost nothing, a sting, an insult. Then his arm begins to swell and darken, and the swelling does not stop. It is not only the venom that finishes him, it is everything that follows through a wound that cannot close, and there is no help for either. That you watch where your hands go in cover was paid for by the one who reached in blind. The river is only water. You have crossed a dozen of them. This one runs fast and brown with the melt, but the far bank has what you need, so the band wades in, linked and careful. Careful is not enough against moving water. It does not bite. It does not hunt. It simply takes the one whose foot finds the wrong stone. He goes down mid-current, and the river folds over him without slowing, the way it folds over a fallen branch. One moment, there are arms above the surface. Then there is only the water, going on exactly as it did before. No animal, no poison, just a flat brown surface that gave no sign it could erase a person. That some crossings are not worth the far bank was paid by the one the river kept. Night comes with a cold edge now, and the mouth of a cave is the best thing you can hope for. This one is deep and black and out of the wind, shelter exactly when you need it. You duck inside. But shelter is a thing that has to be empty, and no one checked whether this one was. From the dark at the back comes a sound you feel in your chest before you understand it, then 2 eyes, set far too high and far too wide apart. The cave was never yours, it was a bear's, and you walked into the one place in the valley that already had a tenant with claws. That you never enter a dark you have not tested cost the one who went in ahead of you and did not come out. There are eggs on the ledge, a whole clutch, protein sitting in a bowl of stone, halfway up the cliff. He climbs for them while you steady the rock below, because the band is thin and hungry, and eggs do not run. The stone is dry, and then it is not. High food is not free food. It charges its toll and falls, and it collects without warning. A handhold that held 100 times gives on the 101st. There is a short sound, and then the long silence of a body that has stopped the way bodies are not meant to stop. The eggs stay on the ledge, and everyone above learns from the height of the drop. The biggest animal you have ever stood near is grazing in the open, a wall of muscle and horn taller at the shoulder than the tallest of you. Meat like that could feed the band for a moon, so you creep close, too close, because the size that promises so much food is the same size that ends you. It lifts its head, it turns, and the slow mountain of meat moves faster than anything that big has any right to move. The horns come down and around, and the old accounts say it plainly. A beast like this can throw a grown man into the air and break him before he lands. It goes back to grazing. He does not go back to anything. The band learns the exact distance a horned giant allows by the length of one man's last mistake. And then, one morning, the world simply stops offering. The frost comes in the night, quiet, and lays a white skin over the grass and over the one who slept a little too far from the fire. No trap sprang. No animal came. The cold did not hunt him. It did not have to. It only waited for the space between his body and the coals to grow a few feet wide, then filled it, and by morning he is the same color as the frost and just as still. Summer killed you for reaching. Winter kills you for nothing at all, for sleeping on the cold edge of the group the night the temperature dropped. The fire is no longer a comfort. It is the only border between the band and a world that has quietly begun to subtract. The food is gone. Not low, gone. The band chews what is left, and what is left is not food, stiff scraps of hide, old bones cracked for the last grease inside, bark, the leather that used to bind a spear. You gnaw leather because the mouth needs to be busy while the body eats itself. This is the wretched middle of winter, where starvation takes your dignity first and your body second. One of them stops mid-chew, folds a hand over a hollow stomach, and lies down. There is no drama in it. He just runs out, the way a fire runs out, going gray, then dark. That hunger could be a passing discomfort instead of a slow sentence is not a thing anyone here can imagine tonight. Thirst does not pause for winter. The streams are locked under ice, so the answer lies right underfoot, endless and white. He scoops snow into his mouth to drink. Snow is water. Everyone knows snow is water. But eating cold is not the same as drinking, and the snow costs more warmth to melt inside him than his starved body has to spare. He stops shivering, and stopping feels like relief, feels like getting warm at last, which is the lie at the bottom of the cold. Warmth that arrives from nowhere in a blizzard is the body giving up the fight and calling the surrender comfort. He slumps against the snow he was eating, finally still. That you melt it first was learned from the ones who felt warmest right at the end. The fire is the one thing that made all of it survivable, the border, the center, the reason the band is still a band. In the worst of the blizzard, it goes out. The wind finds the embers, strips the heat off them, and the last orange eye blinks shut. Now there are hands striking stone over dead coals, again and again, faster and more desperate, and the sparks will not catch in the wet and the wind. Without the fire, the cave is only a colder box inside a cold world. The oldest one stops helping first. She has been cold the longest, and at some point she is just leaning against the wall, done, while the others still beg the stone. Keeping a flame alive in the dark was learned by everyone who ever froze the night it went out. Hunger drives one of them back out into it. Staying means starving slowly, leaving means maybe, and maybe is enough when the belly is empty enough. He takes a spear into a world gone white. Snow above, snow below, no horizon, nothing to walk toward. The band waits at the fire for him. This is what stays with you, not a death you watch, but a place at the fire that stops being filled. The snow does not give him back and does not explain, and after a time, no one looks at the empty space anymore because looking does not bring anyone in from the white. The empty seat says everything the whiteout will not, the first this winter that will not fill again. By late winter, you have learned to fear almost everything. Almost. The lake is frozen edge to edge, flat and white and hard as stone underfoot, the safest looking ground in the whole valley. The child crosses it because it looks like the one thing out here that could not possibly hurt anyone. It looks safe. After a whole year of the world teaching you that nothing is what it looks like, it still looks safe, and that is the last and oldest trap of them all. A sound like a branch snapping runs out from under small feet. Then a web of black lines, and then no lake where the child was, only a dark hole and a silence closing over it. Even now, even after everything, the thing that looks most harmless is still the one writing the lesson. Spring comes, and it does not care who is left to see it. The survivors sit around a new fire, a handful now, where there used to be a dozen. Look around the circle and count the whole year by its gaps. The space where the grinning man sat, the girl with the stained lips, the one who reached into the grass, the old one who leaned against the wall, the child who trusted the lake. Empty seat after empty seat, and each one is now a thing the band knows for certain. Bitter means spit it out. Clear water can still be poison. The bright ones are a warning, not a meal. You do not linger on another animal's kill. A cut gets cleaned, a fever gets feared, snow gets melted, ice gets tested. Not one of those was a lucky guess. Every single one is a name and a face no longer at the fire. You look down at your own hands, the one who came through with nothing left to do but remember. And your hands are not in the snow anymore. They are here. They are now. One of them is holding a few almonds, the pale sweet ones that stayed on the shelf because somebody, 100 lifetimes back, ate the bitter ones and never woke up. The other is filling a glass at a tap, water clear and cold and safe, because a whole band once drank from a clean-looking stream and died of it without knowing why. You slept warm last night, certain of your food and your water, certain of 100 things you never had to test. Every one of those certainties is a seat that emptied around a fire you will never see. The tally was never theirs. It was always yours, your kitchen, your faucet, your ordinary safe morning, built out of people who died finding out. And in your whole warm, certain life, you have never once said thank you.